Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video, we are talking about a very exciting announcement that was made by Joey Drew Studios and the team over at Bendy. Now this announcement was made on Christmas Day, so I didn't actually cover it on the day of announcement because I wanted to have a few days off over Christmas to spend some time with my friends and family. But yeah, I'm gonna get to the video now, guys. The announcement is basically that Bendy is coming to the big screen, as you can see in this image here. And it basically just means that Bendy is getting its own movie. So I don't know if this is going to be like a straight adaptation of Bendy and the Ink Machine, or if it's going to be like an original story or an origin story. We're going to get into that later in the video. This is going to be a very rambly video where I just kind of discuss the announcement, discuss my hopes for it, discuss, you know, what I think the movie could be, and also go over some information that both the Meatly and Mike, the creators of Bendy, have tweeted out alongside this announcement. So let's get straight into it, guys. This is obviously really exciting. We're getting a Bendy movie, and you know, I think it's just about time, really. We've had the FNAF movie recently that did very well at the cinema, and it was pretty good adaptation, I would say. So my hopes for Bendy are pretty high right now. The announcement was made that Joey Drew Studios is making this movie in conjunction with Radar Pictures. Now, if you haven't heard of Radar Pictures, I'm going to read a little bit about the company now, just to fill you in. Because I hadn't actually heard of this company, but they have made a lot of really big movies. But this is their About Us section over at their website, so this is a company that is making the Bendy movie alongside Joey Drew Studios. Radar was officially formed in 1984 through its origin at Interscope Communications, and is currently led by industry veteran Ted Field. Having produced over 80 movies and $9 billion in revenue, Ted Field and Radar have a strong track record and long-standing history as a successful production company. Radar and Ted Field have produced hit movies such as The Last Samurai, Runaway Bride, the Jumanji franchise, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Amityville Horror remakes, Mr. Holland's Opus, Three Men and a Baby, Pitch Black, and the Chronicles of Riddick franchise, as well as many more. So there we go, guys. They've made some quite prestigious films, certainly The Last Samurai, Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, the Jumanji movies, Three Men and a Baby, one of my favorites, the Riddick movies. You know, these are all big franchises, big movies that are beloved by people worldwide. So it's really reassuring that Bendy is in the hands of a veteran studio like this, a group of people that are going to be able to do it justice and bring it to the big screen in a big way. Now, let's just speak about what the Meatly and Mike have actually said themselves, though, because obviously as the creators, we want to know that this movie is going to be done right. So I just want to reassure you that it seems like it is based on their tweets. So we start off with a tweet from the Meatly, and he says, "The idea of a Bendy movie has been in discussions and meetings for years. It's something we wanted to do at the right time once Bendy and the Dark Revival was complete. Now that it's actually going to happen, I'll have to turn my attention to the Bendy Broadway musical. I'm kidding. I have enough to work on. New Bendy games and the movie. Bendy has returned." So this is kind of an exciting tweet, guys, because it shows that like they weren't going to do the movie until they had the right people involved, and they had obviously finished work on the last game so that their attention could be fully like with the film. But it also confirms that they are making multiple games, so it's not just Bendy the Cage, which is the next game that's coming out soon. Well, I assume soon, like probably in the next year or so. They're actually making other games as well. So the future of Bendy seems to be pretty bright right now. You know, other games in production, a movie which is going to bring the franchise to a whole new audience, because obviously a lot of people that go to the cinema don't actually play video games, so this is going to bring it to the horror movie audience as well. And it's really going to expand Bendy in the same way that the FNAF movie just showed that to audiences beyond video games. This is going to do the same kind of thing, but it seems like they're doing justice to the source material and that they're making the movie on their own terms here. So the second tweet from the Meatly is just as interesting. He says, "We are super committed to making the Bendy movie as quality, scary, exciting, and honouring Bendy to the world as possible. It needs to be done right and with care." Obviously with this tweet, guys, they are really focusing in on the fact that it's going to be both exciting and scary, also made at a high quality. All things that we want to hear, right? Like, this is exciting stuff. Now let's turn our attention to Mike. Now this is Mike Mood, of course, who also co-created Bendy, and he's the developer. He kind of does a lot of the programming on the game, and he is one of like the main people at Joey Drew Studios in charge of all this stuff. So in the first tweet from Mike, he says, "We will be involved every step of the way to ensure the Bendy movie treats our beloved franchise with the respect it deserves. So yes, both the Meatly and myself will be there making sure it's everything that we want." So he's solidifying basically what the Meatly said in his tweets, that they're both involved at like a creative level and they're signing off on every aspect of a movie. So if a movie comes out and it's not quite up to par, you know, they've done as much as they can to make sure that it was before it ended up on the big screen. This is really cool because like a lot of creatives who make games will sign off on the movie and they'll hand it off to somebody. You know, we see that with a Resident Evil franchise, like Capcom kind of just let them do, I think, their own thing with the movies in Hollywood, and it ended up with some movies that some people like and other people not so much. With FNAF, Scott was very much involved every step of the way, and we got a movie that really honored the Five Nights at Freddy's games and had lots of Easter eggs and was very authentic feeling and was done the right way. And I'm assuming that Bendy is going to be in that vein rather than something like the Resident Evil movies, which kind of went their own way. So that's very cool. And the second tweet from Mike is quite short. He just says one word, horror. Now, I'm not sure if this is slightly in reference to the fact that the FNAF movie, as good as it was, wasn't really that scary and dialed back the horror elements more than I would have personally liked. It seems like with Bendy, they're really going to go in hard and make a full-on horror movie, which is what I like to hear as a horror fan. I'm hoping it's still got the levity of the games and the humor, but obviously we do want some real scares in there as well and some dread. So I think, you know, a kind of partly animated, partly live-action, cartoon-themed horror movie is ripe for some like really horrifying imagery. So let's hope we get that. But all signs are looking good so far based on these comments from Mike here. So now we've discussed basically the announcement, guys. We've discussed who Radar Pictures are. We've seen what Meatly and Mike are saying about their involvement with this film. But I kind of wanted to wrap up this video just by talking a little bit about what I expect to maybe see with a Bendy movie. Because at the moment, it seems like it's in very early production. This is really just an announcement to say that it's in development and they are working on something now. Just to get the fans excited, I guess, and, you know, tell us that it's happening. So with that, guys, we have the opportunity to kind of speculate and theorize over what this is going to be when it comes out. Now, I think there are two options that they could go with that are realistic. I think in the first option, it's going to be a bit like some of the Bendy books, where it's the origin story of the ink machine, of Joey Drew, of all the bad stuff that went down at the studio as a result of this living ink. And we could see the creation of the ink machine alongside the Gent Company. We could see how the studio functioned in the real world and all the people that work there, like Sammy Lawrence, Alison Pendle, you know, Susie Campbell, and all those kind of people that we know. And then as the movie goes on, we'll see the living ink being created from the ink machine. We'll see people like Sammy Lawrence perhaps turn into his inky form. We'll see Bendy be created. You know, we heard in the books Bendy was locked down in the basement because he was like a failed experiment. And perhaps it will follow, like the books with Buddy Lewick, like a new artist at the studio who's discovering all this stuff. And then maybe if they did a sequel movie, we would get the movie where someone gets turned into an inky creature themselves and they wake up in the inky world inside the ink machine, that kind of cartoon world. Otherwise, they might go the route of doing that as the first movie, and we actually are inside the inky world in the first movie. But my mind, for some reason, is going to a place where I feel like they'll probably do the origin story first. The movie will be mostly set in real world locations, you know, real sets that they can just build and say, oh, this is a cartoon studio, live action actors, and then they'll have like some kind of, I hope, practical effects, because I'm not a huge fan of CGI. I'm hoping they do what FNAF did and they do practical effects with most of like the inky creatures that are created. That might be a bit trickier because they are like made of ink, so maybe I'll need some CGI in there as well. But I hope they'll kind of use as much practical effects as possible because I really like that style of like creating something that's physically in front of a camera over like putting it in post-production. I always have. So I'm kind of hoping that they really lean into practical effects if their budget allows for it. But yeah, guys, that's my kind of thoughts. Like, I think that's what the story's going to be. I think it's going to be an origin story with real actors, and then maybe a follow-up film would be set inside the ink machine, or maybe the second half of the film somebody gets trapped inside it and it's all in one movie, and you know, the second half of the film they kind of create this cartoon world, kind of like in Roger Rabbit, you know, where like Bob Hoskins' character Eddie Valentine, he's in the real world for most of the movie, but towards the end of the movie he goes into the cartoon world, and all these living cartoons are around him. One thing I really hope with this movie, if they do that, is that they actually animate like Bendy as a cartoon alongside the human actors. I love those films like Rescue Rangers, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where they have real human actors and they actually animate cartoons beside them in a 2D hand-drawn style. I think it's just magical to watch, and I think in a horror movie setting it could work really well and be like really, really unhinged. It's hard to know. It's hard to know, guys. I'm kind of just excited for it right now, as you can probably tell. And I'm waffling on. My thoughts are running away with me, but there's so many potential options they could go with here. I want to know what you guys are expecting. You know, who do you expect a protagonist to be? Do you think it's going to be a new character? Do you think it's going to be Henry, Joey? Do you think Audrey could be in it? Do you think we're going to see the Ink Demon in his original form from Ink Machine, or his more like human but like more demonic form that talks from Dark Revival? What do you think to like characters like Wilson showing up? I don't think they'll go that deep with the first film. I think they're going to keep it simple, you know, keep it understandable for new audiences and just tell a simple story. I think that's the smartest play, and then go into like these secondary characters in future movies if they get made. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think we'll see? Where do you think the setting will be? How do you think they'll handle it? Will it be an origin story? Will it be more like Bendy and the Ink Machine, where it tells the story of Henry going into the cartoon world, getting trapped in a loop there? What do you think? I also do think there's potential to have new characters in this as well. You know how like in Dark Revival we had that King Widow spider character, it was like a boss character, and it was very unexpected and out of the blue. I think they could actually add stuff like that and the Keepers and stuff like that are new creations just for the movie. I think that would be the most exciting thing, to have a mix between old stuff we know about, fan service, characters we like Alice Angel and Sammy Lawrence, and then also put in characters that we don't know about that are just for the movie. Because that's the great thing about movies, they don't have to be one-to-one adaptations. You can take creative liberties with them, and you can just kind of have fun and make something that will appeal to audiences that like the game, but also fresh audiences that walk into a cinema just to see a good horror movie. So I think there's a lot of potential here, guys. I think the Bendy universe has even more potential than the Five Nights at Freddy's one, because there's a lot more like clear lore there that you can build off. And I'm expecting this to just be like a really, really good film when it comes out. They're just saying all the right things currently. I'm obviously excited as a Bendy fan. I'll be seeing it regardless. And yeah, we'll be following the journey of this movie as it unfolds. When there's a trailer, we'll cover that. When there's some pictures from the set, we'll cover that. If they release a press release about like what the story is going to be, we'll cover that in a video. I'm not going to make a video for every single tweet that comes up, because there's probably going to be a lot of those. But every time there's something like major that's released, I will cover it on the channel just to keep you guys updated on the status of this movie. And then I'll do like a review probably once I see the film. Whenever it comes out, I'll do like a review on the channel of what I thought of it and stuff, and talk about the story there. But with that said, guys, it's Christmas time. I'm just making a quick video today talking about the Bendy movie, and I think I've gone into enough depth for this first video. Let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below. Let me know if you're excited for this film. And finally, I hope you've all had a fantastic Christmas and you're enjoying your holidays if you're currently on holiday. I know a lot of people have gone back to work. I'm going back to work today, so if you're still on holiday, have fun. Have a good time with your friends and family. I'll be seeing you soon on another video. If you have enjoyed this one, I'd appreciate it if you can leave a like, comments down below, and of course subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I will see you all on the next one.